It is Thursday, the 16th day of May 2024. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch Tonight. Thank you for choosing Hope TV. I'm Teresia Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's take a look at the day's news. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has begun his three-day state visit. Speaking while welcoming Museveni officially at State House, President William Ruto said that the visit will see the two countries strengthen their bilateral ties. This follows the just concluded Kenya-Uganda second session of the Joint Ministerial Commission, where 7 memoranda of understanding in the areas of diplomatic training, public service management, education, SMEs development, sports, youth affairs, trade and investments were signed. Nelias Wanjiro with more.
Uganda President Yoweri Museveni has visited Kenya for a 3-day state visit to hold bilateral talks with his host, President William Ruto. Speaking in the State House while welcoming Museveni at State House, Nairobi, President William Ruto has emphasized that the goal for these talks is to strengthen the relations between the two countries. Ruto added that the talks will also see trade and investment ties improve by extending the crude oil pipeline from Eldoret in Uasin Gishu County to Kampala in Uganda to facilitate trade ties between the two nations and also extend of the SGR.
We also have MOUs on cooperation of public service and development whose objective is to enhance service delivery by our two public service institutions. In addition to this, an MOU to facilitate cooperation in youth affairs has been signed, which enables us to optimize the capabilities of our youthful democratic groups by obliging the two countries to implement innovative national policies and programs relevant to young people. Contextualizing that particular MOU is our joint hosting of the Africa Cup of Nations later in 2027 that was jointly canvassed by the 3 East African countries, and the continued cooperation between our countries in sports.
On the other hand, Ruto has reaffirmed his belief in Raila Odinga as perfectly suited candidate for the African Union chairmanship, stating Ruto stated that he was appreciative for Uganda's support for Raila's candidature.
People and the government of Uganda, the appreciation of Kenyans from all walks of life for Uganda's endorsement of the Kenyan candidate for the position of Africa Union Commission chairperson, and assured him of our full confidence that our candidate will deliver effective leadership at the Commission. We also shared our concern about the threat of terrorism and insecurity in our region and affirmed our commitment to strengthening regional peace and security approaches and programs.
On his part, the Uganda President Yoweri Museveni says that the challenges Africa is experiencing are not accidental, noting that while Africa is rich in countries, it is also poor in everything else. He further proposes collapse of the East Africa community to form one country and one government.
You will get prosperity. Now, if that is the case, then it raises another question. Who buys what you produce? Do you have got enough buyers? This is how the question of the SOCO comes in.
The two nations also signed an agreement paving the way for the Uganda National Oil Company to import petroleum products through the port of Mombasa. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, my name is Nelias Wanjiro.
Thank you, Nelias Wanjiro, for that report. The Indian government has donated 40 tons of food and food assistance to Kenya to support the people affected by flood victims in the country. The consignment, delivered via an Indian military cargo plane, was presented to Kenyan officials by the Indian High Commissioner to Kenya, Navgia Kampa. The 40-ton consignment was received at the Embakasi Air Base in Nairobi by the Cabinet Secretary for East African African Community ISELS and Regional Development Penina Malonza, among other high-ranking government officials. Earlier on Saturday, another consignment of food aid arrived in Mombasa port via an Indian naval ship. Speaking during the ceremony, Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza said the aid would immediately be dispatched to people affected by floods who are living in 187 camps across the country, and thanked the Indian government for her quick humanitarian response in support of Kenya. Now, two business owners in Bungoma town are estimating millions of shillings in losses after a fire burnt their businesses early this morning. Residents have placed significant blame on the Emergency Services Department for their slow response. Speaking at the scene of the incident, the residents question the unknown source of the fire, which is believed to have started at the Chicken Palace Hotel before spreading and also consuming a spare parts shop.
Ilikuwa kama mwendo wa saa 7 usiku ikielekea saa 8. Tulishtuliwa na mlipuko wa kitu inalipuka. Sasa tukataka kujua ni nini inalipuka. Nilipoenda kufungua dirisha nikaona moto mkubwa sana umelipuka. So mimi kama kijana wa boma, na mimi ndio nilikuwa nimeona, nikaona wache nitoke mbio nikuje. So tulikuja tukaingia nyuma tukajaribu tuone vile tunaweza saidia, kwa sababu moto kama ingeruka hapa iende kwa duka za huku ingeleta madhara makubwa sana.
Lakini kiangalia sana ni kitu ya kama stima ndio imefanya hiyo maneno. Wafanya biashara wengi wameweka hapo vitu zao mingi zimeathirika, na sidhani kama naweza sema ati naweza patikana hapo ndani vile kiko hivyo. Juu mimi nimekuja nikapata moto imewaka, na mimi ndio nalanga na ufungu.
Nikapikia wahusika wengi sana, lakini kufika hapa nimepewa ripoti kwamba, sababu mimi natoka mbali, so nimepata ripoti kwamba watu wamefika hapa saa 1, wengine wamefika saa 12:30.
Niko na namba ya ofisa wa fire, nikampigia kidogo tu, aliniambia wao hawana uwezo wa kusaidia ya kuokoa moto. Sasa mimi nikasaga kaunti mzima kama Bungoma na town kubwa kama Bungoma, watu wananunua kitu kama basi, mnajengewa State House. Sasa State House ndio tunakula ama sisi tunakula kwa hizi maduka?
Hatujui kama itafanya kama vile ilikuwa Kandui, nyumba ikaangukia, kwa sababu tayari hivi hii nyumba imeungua, na wale wahusika wanatakana wakuje waangalie kwa sababu imecrack.
Many African countries have adopted border transportation as a means of transportation, with Uganda being one of them. Border transportation in Uganda, popularly known as motorcycle taxis, is one of the most common and fastest means of transportation and contributes to the growth of the country's economy. Our reporter Alice Diana has the following report from Bborder, Uganda, about the border business in the neighboring nation.
In Uganda, motorcycle taxis, called Borders, are able to navigate traffic jams, access remote locations where taxis don't go, and deliver passengers to their destinations in a timely manner. They have helped fill the gap in public transportation. A section of Bborder riders in Bborder city in Uganda say the business is sustainable if one is dedicated. However, some feel the money they get from the business is not enough.
The best thing is just makes us busy, not to entertain other fake businesses, like being in safety stuff and other things. But apart from that, it is not all that sustainable.
Niko steady kwa muda mrefu imefanya, kwa maana I was taking it as not just for a garage like that, but I finally said no, I have to settle myself because that's the work I'm doing now.
Despite having border associations, they feel their issues are not well addressed.
We do create associations, but they end up without helping. Actually, they end up taking our money for nothing. So we decide not to engage a lot in associations. Sometimes you get a problem, there is no any help from the association.
Now, Bborder transportation is one of the fastest means of transportation in Uganda. But just like any other sector, it has its fair share of challenges. I spoke to some of the Bborder members in Bbarara City, and this is what they had to say.
But it has a lot of challenges. It is just for food only, but we don't gain much from it. Challenges like paying the stage. Stage is almost 2M, and which is too expensive for us. So another thing is sustaining the border to remain on the main.
Vile vile unajua tu kama wa traffic officers, polisi officers wameweza kusimamisha, wanasimama kusimama kukuuliza permit, uko na permit, usoro ya pichi wanaweza. Ukimiss ama challenge unaweza kuwa kama permit umejiacha nyumbani ama kwa jacket ama nyeuko kwa stage huko hivi. Sema anasema hiyo kitu kidogo yanasema kitu kidogo hiyo siji hawezi kukupa chance, either you call wakuletee permit hiyo au yeye anasema tu kwa breakdown straight away, kwa breakdown hiyo chance hawezi kukupa chance that you have something to talk.
The Bborder riders are now calling on the government of Uganda to support the sector by reducing the prices of fuel.
I would like the government at least they reduce the price of the fuel. Yeah. Then at least they would support us in bringing us the vehicles where we can pay on less percentage of the loan. There we can afford at least. But for now, we are getting individual loans which are on high rate, and the fuel is also high. So apart from those things, I think the government can put in a lot to support us.
Reporting for Hope TV News Watch from Bbarara City in Uganda, I'm Alice Diana.
Thank you, Alice Diana, coming from Uganda. We see you on that border, even as we remember that it is a source of employment highly here in Kenya. And on that note, let us take a short break. We have plenty more coming up after the break.
This year, Hope FM is celebrating 20 years of spreading hope and inspiration in the airwaves across the globe. To mark this milestone, we invite you for an unforgettable worship ceremony dubbed Experience Hope, a soul-stirring celebration happening on the 25th of May 2024 from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Sitam Valley Road. Prepare to be moved by the soulful voice of Joel Wanga from Tanzania.
Baba, umejua kunifurahisha. Baba, umenifuta machozi.
Alongside celebrated Kenyan artists Peter Watako, Kathy Praise, Bitson and Karura Voices, and Godwill Babete. Don't miss out. Get your ticket now on www.hopemediakenya.org or dial *826*50#. Charges are 1,000 shillings advance tickets and 1,500 shillings at the gate. So mark your calendar, get your praise game on, and see you at Experience Hope. All are welcome.
Are you ready to celebrate the brilliance, resilience, and outstanding achievements of remarkable women in East Africa? Hope Media, in partnership with BH Media Agency, brings you the East Africa Women of Excellence Awards Kenyan Chapter. The East Africa Women of Excellence Awards Kenyan Chapter aims at celebrating and honoring the unsung women trailblazers and the change makers in various fields of influence. Visit our website at www.womenofexcellenceawards.co and vote a woman of impact in the various categories. Let's celebrate the incredible achievements of women together. And don't forget to tune in on the 14th of June this year as we honor the winners. For partnership and sponsorship, call Eunice on 0719 863 336 or Warren on 0724 514 998. You can also email customerexperience@hopefm.org. The East Africa Women of Excellence Awards, recognizing East Africa women of impact.
Welcome back. Let me remind you that our sister station Hope FM is celebrating 20 years since its inception. Come join us on the 25th of May 2024 as we celebrate this significant milestone at Sitam Valley Road. On our Did You Know segment tonight, we tell you our sister station Hope FM's very fast tagline. Moving on, community elders and religious leaders in Msambweni, Kwale County, have called for the elimination of all forms of gender-based violence, GBV, against women and children in the coastal region. Speaking during a meeting involving 7 villages from Msambweni to discuss ways to deal with a pressing issue, the leaders highlighted the detrimental impact of issues such as early pregnancies and marriages on the education and well-being of young girls in the region. This comes even as statistics from the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey indicate that over 40% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence from an intimate partner during their lives. Grace Ahati reports.
In a move aimed at combating gender-based violence GBV in the country, community elders and religious leaders in Msambweni, Kwale County have intensified efforts to raise awareness and address this pressing societal issue. The leaders convened a meeting with residents from 7 villages in Msambweni to deliberate on strategies to tackle GBV, recognizing the detrimental impact of backward traditions on the education and well-being of young girls in the country. Addressing the press after the sensitization session, Mwakamba village elder Juma Mwachangu emphasized the urgent need for empowering all children, highlighting the injustice faced by girls who are forced to abandon their educational pursuits and aspirations due to factors such as teenage pregnancies and early marriages.
Kwa hiyo mwanamke au msichana akiwezeshwa anaweza. Wazee wa kaya, nikiwa mimi mmoja wapo, tunasisitiza, tunapiga vita kwamba mila potofu zipotee. Lazima msichana asomeshwe, mvulana asomeshwe, wala msichana sio kweti abaki nyumbani manake ni mtu wa kuolewa, ni mama, atakuwa mama tu wa kuzaa.
Humanitarian organizations have also stepped up their efforts in the fight against GBV. Among them is the Network for Adolescent and Youth Organization Africa, NAYA, spearheading the She Leads project, which has impacted girls and women in the area positively, according to Kwale resident Fatuma Mwamvivu.
Kulingana na jamii yetu na paka wasichana wenyewe walikuwa kwenye mradi katika hivi vijiji 7 umeleta improvements. Kwa mfano, hapo mwanzo wasichana walikuwa hawajajielewa, walikuwa hawajaelimika, lakini walivyoletwa pamoja wakakuwa empowered, waliweza kuunda movement yao.
As momentum builds in the fight against GBV, young people across the country have been urged to actively support women and girls in various spheres of society. This even as statistics indicate that cases of GBV in Kwale County decreased from 35% in 2022 to 15% this year. Additionally, the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey KDHS shows that over 40% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence from an intimate partner during their lives.
Kwamba vijana tuwe mstari wa mbele katika jamii na kuweza kumpa nafasi ya uongozi mwanamke. Tunashukuru na tutaendeleza zoezi hilo pale apendapo majaliwa.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Much appreciated, Grace Ahati. Now, Attorney General Justin Muturi has lauded the Kenyan chapter for its crucial role in assisting the Office of the Attorney General in resolving disputes efficiently, impartially, and confidently. Muturi attended the 8th International Arbitration Conference hosted by the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, coinciding with the commemoration of the 40th anniversary of the Institute's Kenya branch. He emphasized the Institute's contributions to promoting international trade and investment in an increasingly globalized and interconnected world.
In the midst of such an esteemed gathering at this 8th International Arbitration Conference, and I say, Karibuni. I want to congratulate the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators Kenya branch for organizing this 8th International Arbitration Conference, which I'm informed coincides, as indeed has been said, with the branch's 40 years of existence, and therefore I say to the branch, happy 40th anniversary. I note that this conference aims to bring together users, practitioners, policymakers, government agencies, and academics to map out the future of alternative dispute resolution, particularly in the continent of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, you will no doubt be aware that the public sector, or indeed the state, is the foremost user of cross-border and investment dispute settlements. Speaking on behalf of my jurisdiction, Kenya, we have a long-standing commitment to the rule of law, and this extends to the amicable settlement of disputes through the various international instruments to which Kenya is a signatory. From the onset of the Republic, Kenya signed the International Convention on Settlement of Investment Disputes on 24th of May, 1966.
A civil society group, the Constitution and Reform Education Consortium, CRECO, has faulted the government over alleged constant harassments on civil society organizations, CSOs, in the country. Addressing the press in Nairobi, CRECO officials alleged that several NGOs have been victims of legal harassments and criminalization in retaliation to their human rights activities, with over 1,500 NGOs allegedly being targeted for the deregistration by the NGO Coordination Board, based on claims that they failed to submit financial records between 2014 and 2015.
As we conclude, while it seems the bulk of the proposals and the agenda of the National Dialogue Committee report and the proposed bills point towards changing of the Kenyan governance system from the presidential system to a parliamentary system, we aver that Kenyans need to have a say on the proposal through a referendum to give legitimacy to the said proposals.
The commencement of the PBO Act on 14th May 2024 marked the end of 11 years of wait, filled with struggles in the streets and courts of law, making it a challenging time for civil society organizations in Kenya. Our championing of the enactment of the PBO Act 2013 was to ensure compliance with the 2010 Constitution of Kenya and international standards on freedom of association, including the 2017 guidelines on freedom of association and assembly in Africa.
As we conclude, while it seems the bulk of the proposals and the agenda of the National Dialogue Committee report and the proposed bills point towards changing of the Kenyan governance system from the presidential system to a parliamentary system, we aver that Kenyans need to have a say on the proposal through a referendum to give legitimacy to the said proposals. We urge the people of Kenya to be vigilant and monitor the performance of their elected representatives in their respective county governments and also at the national level of governance.
Kilifi County officers were thoroughly grilled by members of the public over their roles in implementing county government projects in the area. In a public engagement exercise organized by Area Governor Gideon Mungaro that is currently ongoing in all the 7 sub-counties, members of the public have been given an opportunity to publicly take the officers to account for the development projects budgeted for. During the public engagement in Malindi, County Executive Committee members CECM were taken to task to explain why some projects were not being implemented, yet they had been factored in the 2023-2024 budget.
Niko na swali moja mheshimiwa, nataka kulielekeza kwa waziri wa kilimo, hususan mambo ya kulima. Wakati wa msimu wa kulima Jilole wote hatukuona matinga, na matinga ndio ambayo yanatusaidia kulima shamba zetu. Nataka waziri wa kilimo atujibu, akatuachia wafanye biashara pale Maolala, wameleta matinga kwa bei ya ghali. Ilikuwa hali ngumu sana mheshimiwa. Waziri wa kilimo
kupitia department ya finance waziri Ngana tutaweza kuanzisha mradi wa Kilifi New Service au pale ndio vijana ambao watakuwa wanachukua kazi.
Kama department kwa support ya governor tuna nia ya kuendeleza mikao kama hivi Mungu akipenda. Kwa ruhusa ya governor pia governor niruhusu nitangaze Mungu akitujalia iko nia tukipata support ya sawasawa kufanya county devolution week. Kwa hivyo gavana ameweka mipangilio hiyo kupitia department na devolution week ambazo bado atazunguka katika kila sub-county.
Homa Bay County residents yesterday submitted their views on the budget-making process for the financial year 2024-2025. Speaking at Bborder Social Hall in Homa Bay Town, locals led by Maendeleo ya Wanawake Chair Lady Jane Adhiambo and SUPKEM Secretary General Nuh Masood said in a bid to foster acceptance of development projects in Homa Bay, it was important for the government to adopt a consultative approach with citizens at the grassroots levels in a model that places ordinary citizens at the center of national planning.
We really thank the government for giving us this chance to hear our views. The most important thing that we want, how we can improve even the roads so that we can access so many places in Homa Bay town.
We thank the government for bringing this participation. And we want them to continue doing that, such kinds of participation.
And if public participation can be done like the today's one, we will have no problem because we also put our input and they were taken and they will be taken to Parliament for approval or not approval.
We are very happy for today's occasion held at Kabunde. This is a very fruitful meeting and we appreciate our government for doing this kind of a meeting.
Since independence, we have not had any tarmac road. In fact, among 290 constituencies, it is only Suba South which has no tarmac road.
They have told us that we should not bring to them a budget that we prepared in Nairobi. They want a budget that they have their voices in, especially on matters of water, matters of agriculture, matters of roads, matters of rural electricity. They want the government to invest in areas that put money in their pockets. They have told us about the floods menace, how Homa Bay, being next to the lake, suffers every time there are floods. They have been informed that next year, Homa Bay County will host Mashujaa Day. They have requested that all the
Homa Bay County residents yesterday submitted their views on the budget-making process. I beg your pardon, let's switch over to the next story. And that is Homa Bay residents yesterday submitted their views on the budget-making process for the financial year 2024-2025. Speaking at Bborder Social Hall in Homa Bay Town, locals led by Maendeleo ya Wanawake Chair Lady Jane Adhiambo and SUPKEM Secretary General Nook Masood said in a bid to foster acceptance of development projects in Homa Bay, it was appropriate for the government to adopt a consultative approach with citizens at the grassroots level in a model that places ordinary citizens at the center of national planning.
We really thank the government for giving us this chance to hear our views. The most important thing that we want, how we can improve even the roads so that we can access so many places in Homa Bay town.
We thank the government for bringing this participation. And we want them to continue doing that, such kinds of participation.
And if public participation can be done like the today's one, we will have no problem because we also put our input and they were taken and they will be taken to Parliament for approval or not approval.
We are very happy for today's occasion held at Kabunde. This is a very fruitful meeting and we appreciate our government for doing this kind of a meeting.
Since independence, we have not had any tarmac road. In fact, among 290 constituencies, it is only Suba South which has no tarmac road.
They have told us that
Apologies for that mix-up. The Tumaini Peace Initiative for South Sudan has today found a breakthrough. Overseen by retired General Lazarus Sumbeyo, all stakeholders in South Sudan internal conflict, including the transitional government and the opposition groups, have agreed to take part in mediations by signing the Peace Initiative mediation so as to find lasting solutions to the internal wars in South Sudan.
Launched by President William Ruto on the 10th of May 2024, the Tumaini Peace Initiative's main aim was to complement the 2018 peace talks in a bid to ensure the parties commit to ending political instability in South Sudan. Today, South Sudan Peace Initiative stakeholders, including the current transitional government led by President Salva Kiir, the opposition group, and civil societies, agreed and participated in signing a declaration form to commit to the mediations. Speaking on behalf of President Salva Kiir, Ambassador Albino Malungo stated that this move will finally provide a lasting solution for South Sudan.
And for how long do we have to fight ourselves? And that is the reason why His Excellency President Salva has his brother, President William Ruto, to find the lasting peace for the people of South Sudan. And with this remark, I believe my brother in the opposition and also my colleagues who are sitting here to find a soft heart because our people are suffering. I'm talking from the bottom of my heart. We all know.
Addressing the media after all stakeholders signed agreement in engaging in an open mediation, Sumbeyo expressed his happiness that all groups of opposition have agreed to engage the government of South Sudan, iron out issues that have been affecting Sudanese government, and find a solution to end this perennial problem that has caused internal wars since 2013, 2 years after Sudan gained its independence in 2011.
Is that there is positive energy here should be harnessed to address the long-standing divisions and conflicts in the Republic of South Sudan. There can never be better opportune time to recommit to the next phase than now.
On behalf of the PS for the Kenyan Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Abraham Singoei, and the Kenyan government in general, Ms. Leah Nyambu, who is the Director of Peace and Security, stated that the breakthrough of peace initiative has come at an important time for South Sudan, citing that it will be positively impactful to the Sudanese political scene, including the general election.
I am glad that there are positive steps with parties clarifying their positions with respect to the 4 main agenda items on justice, governance, economy, and security sector reform. We look forward to the mediation coming up with clear, implementable solutions whether from the policy stance, legislation stance, constitutional stance, civic engagement and civic education, or reconciliation.
Reporting for Hope TV, my name is Ian Giduku.
Well, on that note, let us take a short break. We will be back with business news.
Aya, I'm not Go TV stream. It's free. Go TV stream iko mkononi na ni free. Download Go TV stream app for free. Enjoy live TV na shows kamia nane. Download and watch later, anytime, anywhere. Go TV stream iko mkononi na ni free. Available to active subscribers. Go TV. Love it.
My best part about being a Hope FM listener was Hope Through the Night. My radio was always on at night, just worshiping and getting the sermons on the top of every hour. And it really made me a stronger worshiper. It made me a stronger worshiper. My best part about being a Hope FM staff has to be treasure hunt with the boys and girls every Saturday morning, being Auntie Rhoda. Oh, I just loved teaching the children. There's a child who wrote in her composition, she was writing about her family, and she wrote one of her aunties is Auntie Rhoda. I was so happy because I'd never met her, but they knew me as their auntie, and just teaching them in the ways of the Lord. So I really thank God for every moment I spent at Hope FM, and even for now, being impacted as a listener.
Welcome back. In business, coffee farmers in Teresia, Bungoma County now want the county's agriculture department to put in place strategies to train them on how to improve the crop and even improve coffee yields. Speaking after attending coffee farming training from a private organization that focuses on agriculture, they also called on the county government to provide them with fertilizer and seedlings that have been researched thoroughly.
Here in Bungoma is one of the counties which are benefiting out of this program, and as I've just said that we are looking at the three pathways, which we normally say that there are some intervention, three interventions system.
Sisi kama ministry kitu yenye huwa tunafanya, wakulima wetu tunawahimiza kabla kupanda hiyo. Kama unataka kudevelop a nursery, ni vizuri ukuje uregister hiyo nursery yako, alafu upate certificate na kutoka kwa watu wa kilimo, then mwisho wake unaweza endeleza hiyo ni nursery yako iko mzuri. Na kabla hujaianzisha utakuja kwa Ministry ya Agriculture. Ukikuja kwetu tutaenda paka kwa shamba yako.
Wakulima huko nyumbani wajue kwamba trainers wenye watatoka hapa wako ni trainers wenye wamepata mafunzo yaliyo mazuri, yaliyo bora. Wakifika huko nyumbani wanakuja na ujumbe ulio mzuri sana.
Nina magonjwa mengi na tunajaribu kuyapunguza. Kujaribu kuyapunguza hivyo itasaidia mazao pia yawe mengi na pesa pia ziwe nzuri na kahawa yenye ubora wa kiwango cha hali ya juu.
Matunzo ya kahawa kule nyanjani inahitaji mafunzo zaidi. Na vile nimeingia kwenye mafunzo hii ambayo imetengenezwa na Solidarity, kuna mabadiliko ambayo nimeipata mingi sana ambayo itasidi kufanikisha wakulima kule nyanjani.
IFAD Climate Resilience Program is improving livelihoods for over 14,000 households in 13 counties. Ronald Ajengo, Country Program Coordinator for IFAD Kenya, while supervising the Kenya Cereal Enhancement Program in Kilifi County, said the project being implemented in 13 counties aims at reducing rural poverty and food insecurity among smallholders in Kenya's arid and semi-arid lands by developing their economic potential while improving their natural resources management capacity and resilience to climate change in an increased fragile ecosystem.
So let me just say that as IFAD, we do support the government in terms of agricultural development, but we also do understand that the issues of ecological integrity is very critical, for agriculture.
It's a program, it's a national government program that partners with the 13 counties Rhoda has talked about. Kilifi is one of the counties, and the main objective of this program is to enhance food and nutrition security among the communities, among the households that we target.
And we're seeing a lot of benefits, both in the short term and in the long term. So of course, as mentioned, from a resilience perspective, trees are helping to provide nutrition to the communities, but from an environment and climate perspective, especially in these contexts of a lot of disasters, we're also seeing benefits in the short term in terms of soil stabilization and soil health.
Women have been facing some challenges accessing various areas to get water, and it will bring about equality, because we'll no longer see young girls dropping out of schools just because of issues such as scarcity of water.
I thank the government of Kenya through IFAD for bringing the project to, and the community for bringing the project to Kararacha Primary School. Why Kararacha Primary School? You know, in a school we offer security. So this project, being in school, we have security because we have watchmen day and night who keep the surveillance of the area.
That's business. Coming up next is sports news. Kenya volleyball giants KCB saw off Kenya Defence Forces KDF 3-0 in a pulsating Kenya Volleyball Federation KVF league match at the Ulinzi Sports Complex on Thursday afternoon. The bankers, who are fresh from participating in the African Club Championship, displayed sheer dominance, sweeping their opponents by sets of 25-9, 25-16 and 25-18 to seal their victory ahead of tougher weekend fixtures.
Yeah, we are disappointed in Egypt. We are supposed at least to come with the bronze medal, but it went away. So we are back home. We are meeting the same teams that we met in Kenyan teams that we met in Egypt. Today we are finished with the KDF. Tomorrow we are meeting Kenya Prisons that we met in the quarterfinals. So it's still a tough match against us tomorrow. And on Sunday we are meeting Kenya Pipeline that beat us on the bronze medal bracket. So we are prepared well, and we are hopeful that we are, before the end of this round league, we can top the table and become the #1 before the playoffs.
And it's a wrap on Newswatch Tonight. On behalf of the crew, thank you for watching. I'm Teresia Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murray. God willing, see you tomorrow night. Have a good night.